Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got an episode of Sniper Sunday. Yes, it is Saturday. I'm just changing it up for this weekend. I've reverted to one of my favorite bolt-action sniper rifles. This is the M98B. We're going to be seeing this gun return in Battlefield 4. And the reason why I love this sniper rifle so much is because it does a ton of damage per shot, and it also fires at a faster projectile velocity than any other sniper rifle in the game at 650 meters per second. What this means is that you don't have to lead as much for running targets, and you don't have to aim too high above your targets' heads. Now again, in Battlefield 4, this could change up depending on how people use their rangefinders and zero in their sights. We might actually be able to abolish the whole needing to aim over people's heads as long as you zero in your sight properly. As for the rest of the loadout, I'm running an 8x sight, the Magnum as a backup, and I always explain how I like to use full auto weapons generally when using a bolt action sniper rifle like the 93R or the G18, but I'm just finding that the Magnum is something I'm in the mood for more and more frequently. I like the power of it. I like the ability to drop somebody in one shot in close quarters. Technically, it does have the fastest killing potential out of any sidearm available, so as long as you have the accuracy to back it up, it can be one of the better sidearms. Again, you do have to have the accuracy to back it up, so if I'm feeling like I'm really on my game, really doing well, then sometimes I'll use the Magnum as my sidearm. Now today I found myself playing a little bit more defensively as opposed to aggressively. I've swapped out my crossbow for a tugs, so I can get up in buildings and sort of motion sensor off areas, make sure I know where enemies are coming from, and I'm just really double checking all my corners, approaching areas very cautiously, slowly, not doing a lot of sprinting around corners and running into action carelessly. I was playing on a server where basically I was running into a lot of players who were using their assault rifles, playing really well, trying really hard, and an aggressive recon up against decent players is very hard to do. You got to play a little bit more defensively and find your corners, find the long range areas that's going to give you the advantage. As you can see here, I'm working this one corner. You do have to deal with guys at close range on occasion, but as long as you can slowly peek that corner and make sure that you're setting yourself up for the advantageous engagement, you can do better. Now, even watching this pawing back, I realize I make a mistake. There was a sniper that comes into my field of view before the player that I actually shot at, so I should have taken my time and gone for the sniper first. Luckily, he missed his shot, but if he was on his game, he could have easily got me before I was able to take out the guy who was in the crater. It's pretty much the whole concept of pawing. You peek around a corner a little bit more. As soon as somebody comes into your field of view, then you take that shot. You don't pie around a huge chunk at once and then have three guys come into your field of view. All of a sudden it's a 3-to-1. You're outnumbered. You're going to lose that firefight. You want to do it as slow as possible, or at least as slow as the situation allows for, and make sure that you bring one enemy into sight at a time to give yourself the best odds of winning your firefight. Now, when I say I was playing more defensively, you do see me move around a bit, but I tend to hang out by a few corners for a while, make sure I'm taking down my targets, as opposed to just sprinting around the map as fast as possible. Now, a true defensive sniper in any sort of more realistic game or even realistic combat situation would post up in an area, take their spot, and scat out the area. There wouldn't be all this running around and quick peeking and all this sort of stuff. And I know that's obvious information, however, it does make me think about the challenges that Battlefield games face, where we have to have sort of a faster pace, more fun, arcadey style of combat, yet bolt-action sniper rifles still have to somehow make sense in this game world. And it'll be very interesting to see how they work out in Battlefield 4. I don't think that the Recon class is really all that useful in Battlefield 3. I mean, it does have its situations. Spawn beacons are very useful, but the actual class itself has definitely been in need of some improvements, and I really think that we're going to get that in a lot of different ways in Battlefield 4. The first, and probably the most important one, is the reduced suppression mechanics that players are going to receive in this game. Snipers, more than any other class, are affected by the suppression effects in Battlefield 3. You get suppressed with a bolt-action sniper rifle, and you can't rely on your aim anymore. You've now taken away the sniper's best and most powerful weapon simply by shooting near them, which seems like a very easy way to neutralize your opponent even before killing them. So the reduced suppression in Battlefield 4 should make a huge improvement to the effectiveness of the Recon class. If you're spot on with your aim, suppression won't affect you anywhere near on the same level that it did in Battlefield 3. Sure, a machine gunner firing tons of rounds over your head will suppress you, and maybe you won't want to take your shots after that, but every single player on the field that's shooting at you, near you, by you, is not going to suppress you in the same way that it has in Battlefield 3. Now, the addition of motion sensor grenades in Battlefield 4 is going to bring back the aggressive Recon playstyle that was really only available in Bad Company 2. You can try and emulate it in Battlefield 3. If you're really fast and you have great game sense, you can run around quickly with a bolt-action sniper rifle, but your effectiveness compared to what you were in Bad Company 2 is just not there anymore. So the motion sensor grenades are going to be a big part of bringing back the aggressive Recon playstyle. If you're not familiar with motion sensor grenades, just think of them as tugs that you can throw into a room. It'll tell you where everybody's located on the minimap as long as they're moving. So it's an easy way to get a readout on a building. If you want to go in the building, or which door you should enter a building from to get the sneak up on your enemy, they're just infinitely useful. The addition now of C4, we all know that the support class is maintaining C4 in Battlefield 4, but the Recon class is getting access to C4. So the ability to throw C4 to use it as high explosives in close combat for taking out infantry, for taking out buildings, for blowing holes in the sides of walls, and taking out armor, it's going to allow the aggressive Recon to not necessarily have to hide anymore when you see a tank coming around the corner. It's the thing that was probably the hardest transition for me coming from Bad Company 2 into Battlefield 3 playing the Recon class, was just having to always run and hide whenever you see some armor. You just didn't have any tools to deal with it. Now, of course, the addition of the crossbow gave the Recon class a few more tools here and there, but let's be honest, the explosive bolts were just nothing really that was intended for dealing with any sort of heavily armored threats. Bad Company 2, the Recon class was extremely lethal to armored targets, both with its mobile artillery call-ins and its C4. So you could either take out tanks from ranges with your artillery call-ins, or you could sneak up close and C4 them. I can watch my gameplay back right now and know exactly what I would have been able to do had I had motion sensor grenades or C4 or something like that. Basically giving me the ability to check my flanks without necessarily needing to look at my flanks. So many options that could be in the game, and I just can't wait to get my hands on the Recon class in Battlefield 4. Hope you guys are as excited for it as I am. And that pretty much concludes this episode of Sniper Sunday on Saturday. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.